everybody. I'm taking a little break right now. I'm on the road headed to Crowville, Louisiana for PKC Redbone Days, but I figured I'd go ahead and do the first Wampus Cat Chat. I advertised about this a week or two ago, and I just wanted to inform everybody why I started the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt show, and then talk a little bit about the 5 episodes, some things I've seen about the dogs, what I know about the dogs that were in the first 5 episodes. So first off, why did I start Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt? Because I've been asked quite a bit about that, so I'll just address it here. So I've always been a big YouTube guy. I always like getting on YouTube and researching. I have a cur background. My daddy had red bones like in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. I always wanted red bones, but I was gifted with a mountain cur pup when I was a kid, and had a couple of red bones during my cur days, but I have a cur background, and it just so happened that that first mountain cur pup that I had ended up being my stud dog, and he was the best cur dog that I ever had. One of the nicest dogs that I've ever hunted with. And one morning when I was probably about 19 years old, I think, a big hog killed him. I was hunting public land, squirrel hunting that morning, and a big hog killed him. And I went looking for a replacement, and I got on YouTube, and I found a really nice stud dog on YouTube and got to watch videos of him hunting and treeing and things like that. There were questions that I had about the dog. Those questions nobody answered. There was no kind of interview podcast, but I got to see the dog go and got to see some cool pictures and videos and stuff like that. And so naturally, whenever I transitioned into red bones, I got on YouTube and I looked up redbone coon hounds, and I found some videos that, in my opinion, were just kind of just dumb. They were there wasn't. I really had a hard time finding anything on a redbone hunting. The videos I found were just kind of talking about general things about the breed. Nothing about specific bloodlines, nothing to do with hunting, anything like that. I did stumble up on a couple of videos, but nothing was discussed about the bloodlines. One of the dogs was pretty sorry, in my opinion, out of the 2 that I found. Later on, after getting established, after starting my YouTube channel, everything with the red bones, I did discover another guy on YouTube that's got a really nice red bone dog named Joe. Coincidentally, because I'm Joe, but he had a dog named Joe. I think it's like Kennedy Outdoors or something like that. Pretty cool YouTube channel. Check that guy out. But I didn't find what I was looking for, so I decided to just make what I was looking for. And I tossed the idea around with Chuck. He's the founder of Wampus Cat Redbone Kennels. He actually sent me a GoPro Hero 11, batteries, SD cards, different attachments and things like that, to get the ball. I've purchased some things since, but to get the ball rolling, that really helped a ton. And I started out just filming myself, because I didn't find anybody on YouTube that was hunting the way that I was hunting. You know, swamps and rivers and briar patches down here in the south, thin coon where dogs got to get deep. You know, where I hunt, if you turn loose at 6 o'clock, you know, and at 8:30, 9 o'clock you've treed 3 coons, you're killing it. With a really nice dog, you're killing it. And I've had like crazy nights. They're rare, but I've had the whole, you know, knock out 5 coons in 2 hours thing, but that don't happen very often. A lot of times, you know, if you where I hunt, if you can tree a coon on a cast, you got a really good chance of winning. And if you tree 2 coons, you're pretty much unbeatable. And, you know, just hunting with dogs in the conditions that I hunt and locations that I hunt, I just really couldn't find anything out there. So I started filming myself and filming my own dogs and things like that. But there was so much more out there for me to learn. And I'm so thankful for the older guys, my mentors in the breed, that have helped me. Shout out to Ricky Vickers, Wade Coons, Chuck Pudell. They've helped me a ton. And there's other guys that I've talked to, on the phone and met in person, and they've been super helpful, but those three are the main ones. But I wanted to learn more about the different bloodlines and the different dogs and the characteristics that they had and things like that. And I didn't want to just learn this for myself. I wanted it available to the public. So I wanted everybody to have access to what I was originally looking for and could not find. That's just a burden that I had. So I decided, instead of just going and traveling and hunting with these dogs and doing these interviews, I would film it and make it available to the public. My primary focus is on red bones. Here's why. Not only do I love red bones, and my dad had them and my granddad had them, I've got a history with them, but there's just not a lot out there. Like, there's a lot of podcasts and videos and hunt stuff with walker dogs, and some with English and blue ticks, but with red bones there just ain't much out there. And in Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt, I've got an episode lined up with Cody Brand. He won the ACHA World Hunt a couple of years ago with a walker dog named Ghost. I've got a Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode set up with him. Another one with the old gentleman that's been coon hunting for about 6 decades. I mean, the guy that he learned from Shine Trees with a lighter knot. He's got Old Pleasure blue tick, but she's really nice, and I'm hunting with him, doing an episode with him. There's another old guy lives up the road from me that's got super nice tree and fice. He don't comp hunt. He used to, but his dogs are really nice. I got an episode planned with him, and then there's some other ones that are in the works that's got to do with other breeds and stuff like that. But my primary focus is red bones, because there just ain't many people like out there that's showing them. There are videos of red bones on Facebook. Shout out to the guys that put their red dogs on there, and there are some videos on YouTube. Shout out to those guys, but nobody is going and evaluating these dogs and hunting with them and sitting down and having these interviews. And I just really wanted to and make it available to the public. So there we go. So getting into the meat of things, I've done 5 episodes so far. That has been with Dottie, Johnny, Mo, Pearl, and Pal. So I want to talk a little bit about those dogs. First off, let me preface with this. If I do a Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode with anybody's dog, I'm doing that episode because I know that is a nice dog. If you hunt with any dog long enough, there's quirks, there's holes, they get in slumps. You may hunt with them on a bad night and they look really bad. You can hunt with your dog 20 nights in a row and look like $1 million, and then when you show him to somebody, he's garbage. That kind of stuff happens. And as I hunt with these dogs, there are varying conditions. Different coon populations. So it's really hard to compare them all consistently and 100% accurately, because I'm not hunting with them very much. All I can do is tell you my opinion, about the bloodlines, and hunt with them the few times or once maybe that I hunted with them, and different things like that. But if they made the show, they're the real deal, or they wouldn't have made the show. So I'll just say that. There's always going to be people that are going to say bad things about good dogs, period. And there's going to be a lot of people that are not honest about what they have, and they're going to fluff their dogs up, and they're just going to downright lie. That happens. But I believe in the dogs that made the show, and that's why they made the show. So starting out, the first episode was with Chuck Pudell, who's the founder of Wampus Cat Kennels, who so graciously invited me to join his team, and I'm so glad that he did. It's changed my life, and it's been an awesome blessing, and he's been super supportive. So shout out to Chuck. Now, the first episode I did was with him. I interviewed him and Dottie, and the main reason was I knew getting into these episodes that there was going to be learning curves, and I didn't know what those learning curves were going to be, but I've just done enough stuff to know. Like, I remember, my dad taught me how to bid jobs, welding jobs, and I would know for a fact, this is how much time it's going to take me, this is what I'm going to run into, and all this. And then you get into it, and it's like, well, I didn't see that coming. So, and then before you know it, you're not making any money. So you gotta account for that stuff. So that's why I did the first episode with Chuck, and I'm so glad I did. Look, that episode, there was so much good footage that was lost, especially like interviewing Chuck during the hunt. He said some really awesome things that I thought were informative and could have helped folks, especially guys that are newer to red bones or newer to coon hunting. But I had audio problems, and I didn't know that until I went back later and reviewed the footage. I learned, more about how to construct things and how to ask the questions, and I'm still growing and I'm still learning. And also, I'm not going to please everybody. There's some guys that they're more interested in the hunt, some are more interested in the interview, some like the hunts that I'm asking questions about the hunt. Some folks would just rather hear the dogs. I try to mix things up a little bit. I'm trying my best, but I definitely learned some things in the Chuck and Dottie episode 1. That is my lowest quality video, and that's what the plan was, to film Chuck and Dottie and then grow from there. And I did. I got better equipment, and I learned things, and hopefully, for those of you that have kept up with all the episodes, from episode 1 to 2, I hope you've seen a tremendous difference. That was the idea. But as far as Dottie as an individual hound, conditions were terrible. It was during a drought. We both had stuff going on the next day, so we couldn't be out real late. So we actually cut her and Eagle loose together. That was Chuck's idea. He wanted Eagle featured in that episode with Dottie to give an example of what she's reproduced. So we cut Eagle and Dottie loose together, and we cut them loose early, and we were pretty sure that the coons weren't really moving yet. It was hot in the south. A lot of times, during the summer and real early part of the fall, a lot of times they're not down till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. We cut loose pretty early. During a drought, conditions were bad. It just wasn't good hunting. And on that episode, that is the only one that I've filmed so far where there's no coon, and it's our own dogs. So we cut them loose, and I don't remember the miles, but my goodness, I'm glad we had roads, and I'm glad we was in a truck, because Eagle and Dottie went miles before they ever said a word. I mean, coons weren't down, and they were digging. Really bad conditions. But they finally hit a track and ran it and treed, and I trust those dogs. I've walked to enough trees. I've seen the accuracy. Couldn't find the coon. Treed, I think, in a big white oak. This was like late summer, early fall when I filmed that episode. And where we're at, our part of the south, that's when the white oaks are dropping acorns, and you get treed in a lot of white oaks or near white oaks that time of year. It was a legitimate circle tree, easily a circle tree. Couldn't get the coon to look, and I asked Chuck about it later. I said, Chuck, that's a really bad episode. We didn't even look at a coon. It was horrible conditions. You want to wait. Maybe have a good rain shower, come back, hunt under better conditions, hunt when we got more time. He said, I don't want to do that. I said, why not? And for those of you that don't know Chuck Pudell, that is a man of integrity. He said, when you travel, all these guys are going to get one shot. Their dogs are going to get one shot. And the Bible speaks of unequal weights and measures. God abhors, he hates unequal weights and measures, and he's like, I want to be equal. I got one shot, Dottie got one shot, everybody else is getting one shot. You film enough of these episodes, there's going to be bad nights, there's going to be times that coons aren't seen. It's going to happen. He said, I've won with Dottie. She's bred well. People that know her know she's a coon dog. He said, I know there's going to be people that talk bad about her. He said, but if she looked like $1 million, they'd say we was in a coon zoo. That's what he said. So he's like, it don't really matter. What I said was what I said. I was being honest. I hunted my dog. It was a bad night. It happens. And he said, every real coon hunter will know there's bad nights. It just is what it is. So, and I respect that a lot. And I done the editing like I did on all the other episodes, and I advertised when it was going to be set to air, and I aired it, and it is what it is. It's not very entertaining, but it is what it is. But out of all the dogs on Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt, I know Dottie the best. That is Eagle's Dam. Dottie was bred to Iceman. And she had 5 or 6 pups. Eagle's one of those pups. I believe that he's the best one out of that litter. I have no reason to believe otherwise. I'm very thankful that I've got him. But I've hunted with Dottie. I'm very impressed with her. Whenever you cut her loose, she leaves hard, like she's in a race for her life. And she runs with her head up, and she's got good natural independence. If she, and Chuck mentioned this in the episode, if she ain't got nothing going on and she hears another dog strike, she will go to that dog, but she ain't going to backpack. I've seen it on the Garmin. I've watched it happen time and time again. She tries to get in front of that other dog and take that track from them and beat them to the tree, and I've seen her do that. She's fast. She's accurate. I can't remember how many trees I walked to in a row and found a coon over Dottie. She's fast. She's got a lot of hustle. She goes as deep as she's got to go. She's a hard, stay put tree dog, split and hold pressure. If she hits a track, she's not going to leave it. She'll only go to another dog if it's, bad conditions. She ain't got anything going on. But like I said, she goes to get in front of that other dog and beat them to the tree, which I've heard. I've never hunted with him, but I heard Aftershock done the same thing, and he won a lot of hunts like that. Because instead of him getting first and that other dog getting first, he got first and they got second. And that has helped Chuck win some hunts with Dottie. What I don't like about Dottie is she is certainly a one-man dog. She will hunt for a few people that know her, and she knows them, and she's hunted with them quite a bit, but she will never hunt for anybody else like she hunts for Chuck Pudell. And Chuck mentioned on that episode that Dottie's biggest fault is who owns her. And I got a lot of respect for Chuck, and he's a good handler, but he's right because of some bad circumstances. When Dottie was a 2-year-old, she got 4th at the Georgia State hunt. She got, and the second night she actually beat the dog that won the thing, but she lost on the first night. Then she got, I think, 5th overall one night at the Winter Classic. I think she was in 8 or 9 casts in a row where she never drew a minus. He was doing really, as a 2-year-old. He was doing really good with her. Made her night champion. Got several wins towards Grand. Then he had a heart attack. And then after that, he had like a heart cath put in, and then he had to have sinus surgery. And it's like he got her tuned up, or had her rolling good, had a heart attack, got her tuned up, had a heart cath put in, got her tuned up again, had to have sinus surgery, got her tuned up again, was going to hunt her in the TOC last year, and she started bleeding. She come in heat like the day before he left. It's just like, and then he got her tuned up again. He was about to start putting her in hunts again, and then he had a hunting accident and got injured. And I'm not sure if, I don't think he's made that public knowledge yet, so I'm not going to hit on the details there. But it's like one thing after another. Like right now, he's in recovery. And there's another guy that's on the Wampus Cat team, Mitch Crow. He's hunting Dottie right now, and hopefully she warms up to him and hunts just as hard for him as she does for Chuck. He's going to hunt her in the Winter Classic. Chuck was going to hunt her in the Winter Classic. Now Mitch is. it remains to be seen. I still don't think she's going to be the dog for him. I mean, she's training coons, but I don't think she's going to be the dog for him she is for Chuck, but time will tell. So that's one thing that I don't like about Dottie, is she's not one of those dogs that can just go from handler to handler to handler and look like the same dog every night. The other thing I don't like about her is she's tight. And I don't understand that, because she was out of 2 dogs that were quick strike, and there were 4 pups in that litter. One of them was a cull. 3 of them made it. Dottie's one of the ones that made it, and the other 2, Dixie and June, are both quick strike. So I don't understand why she's tight. And like, golly, she's double Kate, Kaufman Smoking Jericho, Aftershock is all right there close. I don't see where the strike went, but it went. She ain't got it. I don't know why. She's reproduced it, or produced it in her pups, but she ain't got it. But yeah, that's the scoop on Dottie, which I probably talked about her more than I'm going to talk about any other dog on that list, because I know her. You know, naturally I know her, so I'm going to talk about her more. But, all right, Johnny, the Johnny dog, Take Your Guns to Town, owned by Robert and Trista Crow up in Indiana. Let me say this, too, before I go any further. I've had a massive amount of support, and I really, really appreciate that. There's a lot of guys that have been coon hunting longer than I've been alive that tune into the show, watch the show. I've had a lot of really nice things to say, and I appreciate it. And I want to say that. And then secondly, I want to say that on every one of these episodes that I've done, I've received tremendous hospitality. You know, helping me with fuel expenses, buying me, like Robert and Trista bought me a night in a room. That was really nice. You know, everywhere I've been, I've gotten help with fuel and lodging, and I've had meals purchased for me and stuff like that. I'm not making any money, but I'm not really going backwards either. So I just want to say I really, really appreciate everybody. Chuck and Robert and Trista Crow, Wade, Ricky Vickers, you know, and Mike Rollins helped me out with some fuel money, and I didn't even have to go that far. That was Birmingham. I mean, I drove like an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, something like that. He still helped me with fuel, more than enough to put in my truck. So yeah, I wanted to say thanks. And there's some other names there that I didn't mention because I'm trying to think of everybody off the top of my head there, but Jackie Stafford was another one that helped me, and I'm sure I'm leaving some out, but I appreciate y'all for your financial help. It means a lot. But anyways, back to Johnny. The biggest thing that I don't like about Dottie is the biggest thing that I don't like about Johnny, and that is he is tight. But see, here's the thing. Everybody's got their own style of dog, and everybody's got different opinions. And there are people that really, really like tight-mouthed dogs. I'm trying to breed and produce dogs that get their mouth open fast. That's what I'm trying to do. Dottie is a really nice hound. Johnny is a really nice hound. And they're, you know, the amount of coons that they get under and their accuracy and the winning they've done is a testament to that. Johnny has taken hard traveling. Robert has put that dog in the wind. He's taken him to the AKC World Hunt. He's taken him to the TOC. He's taken him to multiple state hunts. He's taken him to the Winter Classic. And I got to be leaving some off. He's traveled all over the country with Johnny. Johnny eats on the road. He takes travel well. And he's won all over the place. He's a tight-mouthed dog. I like a more open dog, but there are a lot of tight-mouthed dogs that have won. Like, you know, you look at Barnyard Crow. If that dog didn't make the Hall of Fame, he wasn't but a few hunts away. I'm pretty sure he's a Hall of Famer. That dog won a pile of hunts. He traveled all over the country and won a pile of hunts. Crow did, and he was tight. So you can win with a tight-mouthed dog. They might have to hustle a little bit more, but I'm going to tell you something. What impressed me most about Johnny, it was a drought. Now, there's a better coon population where we hunted in Indiana. So I'll give I want to point that out for Dottie's sake. We were hunting we were hunting in thin coon in Alabama. It was actually Georgia. We was on Alabama-Georgia line, but yeah, just inside Georgia. We was in thinner coon with Dottie than we were with Johnny. And Robert knows that. But the conditions were still the same. It was hot. There was a drought. So there was a heavier coon population in Indiana, obviously, than on Fort Benning in Georgia. And Rob knows that, and Tristan knows that, and knew that we were in coon. I wouldn't say coon zoo or anything like that, but definitely there was a lot of coons there. So Johnny had that advantage over Dottie because we was hunting Dottie in hard hunting, real thin coon. But the conditions were the same in that it was a drought. I mean drought. I remember on one tree specifically we were walking to, and we were walking a dried up creek. There was no water in the creek bed, and we were walking it, and dust was coming up into my camera lens. It was dry. There was a lot of guys at that time complaining, saying that they just were not treating coons, or their dogs that were normally 70-80% accurate were 30 or 40% accurate and stuff like that because of the drought, because of the rough conditions. And Johnny that night made 4 trees. He had 4 coons. That's what impressed me more than anything. It was the summertime, and it wasn't easy to find the coons, and we wouldn't have found 1 or 2 of them without Rob's thermal. But it was it was late summer, early fall. It was a drought. It was hard condition. And every time that dog located, Rob booked him. He didn't move. He stayed treed. He's got a big mouth on him. And when we walked in there to him, sucker had a coon. And that was really impressive, and his winding ability. So a lot of, especially in modern times, there's a lot of hotter nosed bred ambush style dogs. Johnny's not one of those dogs. He's a dog that takes coons as they come to him. He'll pick up a track, he'll work it out, and when he trees, he's parked under a coon. He's got the meat. One time that he cut him loose, I think it was on the last drop, he was shooting him down a creek. And when we walked down that creek, I watched Johnny throw his head up. And Rob's got him and about to shoot him right down that creek, and he's checking that wind to his left. And when Robert unsnapped him, he went right up that creek bank, took off running. He got out there, I don't know, 300-400 yards, and just died on a tree. Had a coon. He went to that sucker, beeline to him, let out a locate. I don't even think he was actually to the tree yet when he located, and all of a sudden rolled it over. Howl, 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 that big booming mouth in there. And he had a coon. Also, some people you talk to, they don't care how a dog looks at all. Just it's all about, hunting traits. I'm not that guy. I care about what they look like. Everybody's got their own opinions, but I like that 50, 55, 60 pound, athletic, wound tight type of dog, ears just barely reach into their nose, cat pawed, structurally sound. I like that look. Now, not all my dogs look exactly like that, but that's what I like. Different strokes for different folks, as the old saying goes. Some people, they don't care. But if you like a big, houndy looking sucker, you like Johnny. That is one pretty dog. And when he stands up on his hind feet, he puts his paws on Rob's shoulders. Just looks him right in the face. That sucker's 95 pounds. Big, houndy head, face, long, droopy ears, and he throws that in his pups. His pups are coon crazy. They're houndy looking. They're good looking dogs. And Johnny comes from a line of hunters and bench dogs. He's got them both in there, and it shows up in him. He's a good looking sucker, and he'll go as deep as he's got to go. to find a coon. He's hunted in the mountains. He's hunted, in the swamps in the south and them cornfield edges in Indiana. Every type of coon's Johnny's type of coon. And he throws big houndy pups. So if that's something you're after, now will he throw strike? I don't know. You'd have to reach out to Trista Crow and ask her, what he's thrown. Ask Trista or Robert, what he's thrown and what he's out of. I don't know as much about the dogs back in his pedigree. Did they throw strike? Like, is Johnny that one-off type of dog like Dottie is? I don't know. You have to ask them. I should have asked that when I was there, but I know that his pedigree stacked with Grand Night champions and Grand Show champions, and he's a good-looking dog, and he's out of good-looking dogs, and he throws good-looking dogs. And if you like a houndy dog with a big mouth, that you can book him on his locate, and he's he's under coons. I mean, you might want to breed to Johnny. So he's a nice dog. So I hope, Robert and Trista, if you watch this, I hope I did Johnny justice there on the description. If I left anything out, feel free to drop a comment. And the same goes for Chuck, for Wade, for Mike Rollins, Adam Lundy, Byron Rhodes, Ricky Vickers, any of y'all. If you think I misrepresent your dog, I deeply apologize. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying what I saw and kind of giving my opinions and stuff. But feel free to leave a comment. All right, so moving on. Vickers Red Mo, owned by Ricky Vickers. So Mo's a different case because Mo is retired. Mo is not the dog that he used to be. But Chuck has hunted Mo. He's had Mo at his house, and I know a bit of history about Mo. Now, he's a coon dog now, and he's a really good pup trainer. He's bred really well, but I didn't get to see him in his prime. But Chuck did. And I trust Ricky in what he says. And I would say the two things that impressed me most about Mo, and Ricky's not going to say this because Ricky's a humble man. He's a humble Christian man. So he's not going to say this, but and I don't think it might have been mentioned on the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode. I don't think it was, but I'm going to mention it right here. Mo was 90% blind while Ricky was campaigning him. And Ricky didn't know it. And Chuck had Mo at his house for a little while and noticed something was off and took him to the vet and discovered that he was 90% blind. So that dog made Grand Night champion 90% blind. So if you want to ensure that you're breeding to a dog that knows how to use its nose, I can assure you he absolutely had to use his nose and his ears, or he'd have been running into trees. I could not imagine running off into the dark 90% blind, but Mo did it, and he made Grand Night champion, and he won against some high-level competition. Actually, I don't think this made the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt with Wade, but Wade told me this in person, that he drew out with Ricky one night, and Ricky was packing Mo, and he beat him. And the dog that Wade was handling at the time, he made the final four in the champion division at Autumn Oaks with. And he drew out Mo, and Mo beat him that night. Now, Mo lost to some good dogs. Every dog loses, but he beat some really good dogs too with Mo. But the fact that that sucker was winning hunts 90% blind floors me. So that's the one big plus I'm going to say about Mo. The other thing I really like about Mo is what he throws. And Ricky did say this on the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode, that Mo is a better reproducer than he is a coon dog. He, as good of a coon dog as Mo is, he outproduces himself. He's been crossed over multiple females, And out of every litter, there has been exceptional coon dogs. One of those, no, two of those were featured on that Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode. If you go back and watch that episode, there's like a 2 or 3 year old dog named Storm that is recovering from a tick disease. Jackie Stafford has him right now and has been hunting him, and he has him on, I think, the Elite Nutrition, and he's trying to pull him out of that tick disease. He still don't have the energy he used to, isn't as loud as he used to be, but that dog made Grand Night Champion really young. Ricky, if you're watching this, please put in the comments some of his winnings, how old he was when he won. I knew it was like really good. I don't remember the details. So yeah, Jackie, Ricky, anybody else that's got that info on Vickers Storm, drop it in the comments, talk about some of his winnings. But at some point he got a tick disease and went down here real fast. A lot of y'all watching this know how that is. It really stinks. But so he produced Storm. That was on one cross. On another cross, when he was bred to our Dixie female, which is Dottie's full sister, Wampus Cat Dixie, as far as I know, every single pup out of that litter is coon crazy. Every single one of them have a big motor. Every single one of them get their mouths open fast. So that's a testament. You breed to multiple females, and the dog just keeps producing. There again, Ricky's a very humble guy. He's not going to push Mo as a stud dog. I think most people would, because he's a really, really good reproducer. And speaking of that, those pups out of Dixie and Mo, one of those pups was there that night that was hunting with Storm. And that dog is Willie or Willie Boy. And I'm going to tell y'all, that pup is an absolute freak. It ain't about how they start, it's about how they finish. I realize that. I don't know what that dog's going to become. He might go backwards. He might end up being a dud. I don't know. But based off what I could see, and this includes everything I've seen off camera, that little dog, that little pup is like a force. He was like 5 months old or something when I hunted with him. Leave like a rocket, get deep, get by himself, get treed. I watched that little 5-month-old pup tree multiple wild coons that night and would not back another dog. That's nuts. Just natural independence. He's never been shocked, never been disciplined for going to another dog. And Storm's in there tree blowing the top out, and Willie's over there doing his own thing, trying to find his own coon. I mean, it was just, it was such an experience seeing that pup go. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe Ricky said that he's never seen that much potential in a pup in his life. And Ricky Vickers is, I think, 60-something years old, and has had a bunch of pups. He's a pup man. He'd rather work a pup than campaign an old dog. He loves pups. And to give that pup that much praise says a lot. Mo is definitely a reproducer. So if you hadn't watched that episode, it's a really cool one. You get to see that pup get struck, work track, tree. You get to see him under coons. He hit a layup in a barn. Mo actually treed on a corn hopper. Coon was inside the corn hopper in a barn. They winded the coons, ran to the barn. Mo treed on the corn hopper. Willie went over there, didn't want to back him, tried to get split, ended up throwing his head up, running up in some hay, and let out a locate. And I looked up, and there was a coon up above him, up the barn rafters. That was a very impressive pup. So those are the things that impressed me most about Mo. You got to see him hunt on the episode, but you didn't get to see him at his best, but you did get to see what he reproduced. So the fact that he won Grand Night Champion, 90% blind, and is that kind of reproducer, that's what impressed me most. Now, I'm not saying that the other dogs on this list aren't solid reproducers. Like Johnny's pups, they're good-looking suckers, and they're coon crazy. But he hadn't been bred over, I don't think he's been bred over multiple females. I think on one of his litters they lost all the pups or something. That's really sad. And those pups are still really young. Like Storm's a 2 or 3 year old dog. Those pups are young. So how Johnny reproduces kind of remains to be seen. He's bred to. I think he probably will. Time will tell. Dottie, she's a decent reproducer. She produced Eagle. She produced a dog named Deacon that's really tough. She produced a female, I think, in North Georgia or North Carolina or something like that that's doing really good. But she produced several duds too. I would say Dixie and Sweet Tater are both better reproducers than Dottie, probably, I think. But Dottie's only been bred to one time, so kind of remains to be seen. But yeah, Mo's a really good reproducer. Moving on, the next dog that I hunted with was Pearl, and Pearl is an X-bred. Pearl is she's directly out of Freak. I'm big on Freak, and I'm not the only person that is big on Freak. Freak was a for real coon dog and a dominant reproducer. Freak, and it was mentioned on the episode, the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode with Byron Rhodes, Mike Rollins, and Adam Lundy. Freak was the #1 current reproducing red female for like 6 or 7 years in a row. She has produced some really, really nice dogs, and a high percentage of her pups title. Freak was a really nice dog, and I've heard high praises from a lot of people about Freak and pups they've hunted off of Freak, and people that have hunted with Freak themselves or hunted with coon dogs off of Freak. And she was bred, I don't know, 6 or 7 times or something like that. And on the last cross, Adam and the guys decided to breed her to Money Maxed Out, Little Money. Little Money was a dominant walker dog, so Pearl is X-bred, but Little Money was a dominant walker dog. I think at the time that they made the cross over to Freak, he was producing more winners at the Super Stakes than any other stud dog in the world at the time, all breeds combined, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure. I know he was doing super good, but I think he was actually doing the best at producing them Super Stakes winners. He's out of Big Money and Wipeout Page. He's bred to the hilt. Little Money is, and he's a really solid reproducer. And Adam brought up the fact, and I think this is in the video, I know for a fact we talked about it over the phone. He said it wasn't about the color, it was about the traits, and he was trying to get the best litter of dogs he could raise. He knew that he had a diamond in Freak. It was obvious at the way that she reproduced with all different kinds of red bones. Like, they're all bred different, and she just kept throwing good pups. So it was obvious. There was no question, is it the male or the female? And I'm not discrediting the male. She was bred to some really nice male dogs, but when you take a female and you can breed to multiple males and keep having awesome litters, that's a testament to the female. Just like I mentioned with Mo, bred over multiple females and just keeps having good litters. Not taking away from the female there, but Mo's a solid reproducer. Freak's a solid reproducer. And she was up in age, and there was a good chance this was going to be her last litter, and he was trying to match traits. And Freak, and this ain't just coming from Adam, this is coming from other guys that I've talked to that hunted with Freak, she was quick strike. She'd drive a track hard and fast. And when she treed, she was a hard, stay-put tree dog, and she had her coons. And she ran hard with her head up. She didn't get bogged down and stand on her head and all that. And he was looking for a dog that had those traits, but also one that was extremely independent, because he wanted some more independence. Freak had independence, but not as much as he liked. And he bred her to Little Money, and that was an awesome litter. Some really nice dogs come out of that litter, and Pearl is one of those dogs. And Pearl was Adam, Byron, and Mike's pick out of that litter. And buddy Pearl has done some winning. She won the Battle of the Brides. I want to say she got reserve at the Super Stakes one year. Byron, Mike, Adam, or anybody else that follows Pearl, that knows Pearl, Kai Roberts, he's handled her quite a bit. If any of y'all are watching this and you know, you've got some things to say about her, about some of the winning that she's done, especially at a high level, drop a comment, let everybody know some of her accomplishments. But I would say, I think pretty sure it's reserved the Super Stakes, winning Battle of the Brides. Those are her best accomplishments. She's won all over the place. She travels good. And she's an impressive little hound. When I went hunting with her, man, look, y'all, I just kept wanting to film just this action-packed episode where we just look at like 8 coons, and it's just constantly like strike, drive a track, fast, bang, tree, coon. It's just worked out to where it just keeps being bad conditions. It ain't on purpose. You know, I'm a working man. I pastor a church. You know, I got a schedule, and man, I just keep going on bad hunts. The Ricky hunt was okay, you know, but like there weren't a lot of coons there. We're hunting in the Kentucky mountains. You know, we've seen coons. It wasn't great. Dottie, it's a drought. Johnny, it's a drought. Well, we got some rain for hunting with Pearl, but hunted her under a full moon. And there's guys that argue about whether a full moon affects, you know, coons, this, that, the other, whatever, but I believe it does. If you got a coon dog, a real coon dog, they will consistently get under coons. Like, you can tell it's tougher on them. You may not tree as many. They might not be as accurate, but if you got a real deal coon dog, full moon, no moon, high winds, swirling winds, no wind, cold, hot, you hunt them, you're gonna look at coons. And that night we went on under a full moon, and the place we hunted, the coons are pretty thin. Actually, Byron Rhodes brought up, and I don't think I caught this on camera, but he brought up the fact that some disease had come through there and killed out a bunch of coons. So there weren't many coons, and we was hunting under a full moon, and Pearl had to work hard, and that little jip did, buddy. And both drops, she left like a rocket, and she moved country fast, and she was quick to get her mouth open. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the 6 is not gonna catch Pearl. That dog is open, like a ball chop mix type deal. And the one thing that threw me off about Pearl is it's almost like she's got 2 locates. Like, one of them's like, I ain't real sure, and the other one's like, I'm real sure. But the thing about, you can adjust to that. So like, if she locates and ain't real sure, it's like those guys can tell. Like Adam said something to the effect of, yeah, she's gonna move out of there. Well, then later she located, he's like, tree her. She's treed. And sure enough, right after he said that, just bang, she's in there treed. So that was the one thing. But see, you can adjust that. That's easy to adjust to. You know, like Eagles locate ain't real easy to call. Like, I can't just send Eagle off somewhere and be like, hey, when he locates, book him. Because sometimes if he's in there deep, especially there's other dogs, it can be a little difficult. Like, is he still on track, or is he locating? But like me, like, I know. Like, I hear him rolling till I bang, tree him. Like, I know. And it's that same kind of thing with Pearl. Those guys know. They hunt her. They know her. But yeah, so I would say the most impressive things about Pearl, she's fast, really fast. Like, not just to look for a track, but when she hits a track, she can smoke it. Obviously, she's got a resume that speaks for itself. And like, you know, these dogs that make the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episodes, like, they've got resumes that speak for themselves. But man, winning Battle of the Brides and getting reserved at Super Stakes, those are quite the accomplishments. But really fast. I like that about her. And then, you know, we were hunting under a full moon. And, you know, if a dog's gonna miss, if a dog's gonna look really bad, like, that's one of the, like, it was one of those nights you would expect that. You know, we're hunting real thin coon. What ain't thin is deer. There's deer everywhere. Pearl didn't care about deer. Pearl's coon dog. She got deep. She found tracks, she smoked them, and she treed. And one tree was in a swamp, and the other one was just in a hardwood flat. The second tree was a den. She had that sucker on the outside. She treed twice. She had 2 coons in bad conditions. But I like her hustle. I like her speed on track. I like that she gets her mouth open fast. I love the way she's bred. You know, I really like, you know, she come out of freak. And you know, I'm a red bone guy, but I have a tremendous amount of respect for, you know, like there's good in every breed, man. And there's some really nice dogs out there. And Little Money has got to be one of my favorite coon hounds, all breeds combined, like in history. He was super, super nice and a super good reproducer. And you take a reproducing male like Little Money and breed him to a reproducing female like Freak, buddy, you ought to expect to get something like Pearl. She's nice. She's real nice. So, and then shout out to those guys, Byron and Adam and Mike, for the work that they put into her, and Kai. I'm forgetting about Kai because he wasn't there, but Kai Roberts has handled her and won with her to high level. And man, and there's been so many hunts too, and hopefully one of the guys that owns Pearl will see this and put them in the comments. But there's been so many hunts, man. She was like so close. Like I was talking to Adam one night, and she was like, Adam was like, man, she was like 25 points from winning us a side by side or something like that. Like people, like the public eye sees when they win the big hunts, but you don't ever see when they get real close. They get real close, and she's gotten real close several times in a high level of competition. So there's debate about, you know, X breeding. There's purists out there. There's guys that believe in X breeding, and I'm not here to debate that. I'm a fan of it myself. I'm not going to get into why, or you know, but and that might be a Wampus Cat Chat for another time. The X breeding thing, hybrid vigor effect, and all that stuff. But the point is, Adam and whoever else was in that decision seen Freak's traits. They seen Little Money's traits. They seen how she was a dominant reproducer, how he was a dominant reproducer, and to them it had nothing to do with color. And they made the cross, and they got a really nice litter of dogs, and the one they kept was Pearl, and she's super nice. And she goes to Indiana and just adjusts and just starts popping up coons left and right. Bang, 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 bang. Bring her down to Alabama. She adjusts really fast. She gets deep. She hits an old gnarly track. She grinds it out, and she'll move a cold track like it ain't cold and get treed and have the meat. And it was a really fun hunt. Enjoyed it. So that's Pearl. So now moving on to speaking of matching traits, moving on to another dog, Pal. So out of the 5 episodes that I've done, 3 of the episodes have been with mentors of mine, and that's really cool, and those guys mean a ton to me, so I just want to say that. But there's going to be a lot of episodes where I don't really know, much about the guys or the dogs or the lines or whatever. That's coming. I'll try to study up before I do the interviews and stuff. That's coming. But it's been really cool going and hunting with my mentors and, showing their dogs and all that stuff. It's been neat. But anyway, by the way, I can do all things through Christ and Red Bull. This is how I make it, folks. This is how I hunt almost every night of the week. Pastor a church, work a job. Coffee and Red Bull, Christ and caffeine, baby. I can do it. But anyway, so hunt with Pal. Wait, I'm sorry. Just want to apologize real quick. I'm so sorry that I drove 15 hours to come hunt in December. I don't have the world's smallest violin, but if I had it, I would I'd play it, because I literally picked the worst time of year to come up there and hunt with you. Sorry. But so here's a little backdrop, a little history of this, why I went up to Wade Coon's place in December. He lives in Pennsylvania. For my southern folks, December coon hunt's great where we're at, and getting into the best time of year, which is the rut. That's my favorite time of year to hunt, is the coon rut. I love those long hot tracks. They're exciting, fun races, but our winter time's awesome. Like, You see a lot more coons, obviously, because a lot of places we hunt super thick. So it's really cool seeing the coons. You know, you got better tracks on the ground. You know, you're not hunting during a drought. Our coons are more active. They're having to scrounge for food. It's a great time of year to hunt. It's not a great time of year to hunt in Pennsylvania. It's terrible. So like up there, their summers aren't that bad. Like our summers, that's our hard hunting. Like, man, July and August, that's rough hunting. Like, I think there's nights the coons don't even move. And if they do, it's like they pop out of their den tree, and they eat a little bit and they go back up. And a lot of them dens hold water, and they ain't even got to leave. So if they store a little bit of food, they got water in their den tree, they ain't got to come out. It's really tough conditions. Well, it's pretty good hunting. It's not their best hunting. Their best hunting's like fall, but they actually got good hunting during the summer. December, horrible. So it's really cold. They call it December up there because most nights coons are denned up all night. So they feed up hard in the fall. By the time December rolls around, the coons are fat and happy and they den up. And you really don't get any movement till the rut, which is in January. And still, it ain't like our rut. Like, our rut's a lot more active. Their rut, like, the coons move some, but then like there'll be a boar laid up in a den tree with some sows and he's just in there, you know. So until the springtime, the hunting ain't good up there. But to put some history to this, why did I go in December? Like, why didn't I schedule, like, say, Michael Ford and Charles Dickens, who's in Alabama? Why didn't I schedule him in December and you'll go hunt with Wade later? Well, back to the I really like Freak as a reproducer and really like Little Money and really like that cross. Wade ended up with one of the females out of that litter. Her name is Tess. And I've never got to hunt with Tess, but I know that Bruce Simons won like $1,100 in a weekend with her. 2 PKC casts against a high level of competition, and he won with her. I know how she's bred. She's Pearl's full littermate sister. She's bred to the hilt. And I talked to Bruce about her and knew she was a hard-going, quick strike, big ball chop mix on track, booker on her locate, hard tree dog, have her coons. And I'm like, man, that sounds like my style of dog right there. Well, he sold Tess to Wade, and I called Wade immediately. He didn't even have Tess at his house yet. And I was like, why are you getting her? You getting her to breed her? And he's like, yeah. Well, who you gonna breed her to? He's like, Pow. And he told me about Pow and about how Pow was bred and the whole and I already heard about Gas Monkey through Chuck and all that. And I was like, I want a pup. And I tried to pay him for the pup like 9 months ago. Like, I wanted a pup out of that cross. So, you know, he hunted her for a little while, and really, at first, you know, they kind of hit a rough patch. Tess, I think, had to get used to him and get used to that environment up there. But she started popping up coons left and right, and she was exactly what she was supposed to be. And he decided to breed her. And you know, when she come in heat, and he bred her to Pow, like, I knew I'm getting my pup in December. So, like, I'm committed to the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt thing and the traveling. I'm on the road right now and I'm traveling, you know, but it didn't make sense for me to drive 15 hours one way twice. So I just called Wade and I apologized to him, and I'm like, we're going to do the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt in the blistering cold on frozen ground because I'm not making the road trip twice. And he's like, the hunting is terrible, but I guarantee you Pow's going to work his butt off. Like, he's going to try to get under a coon. Like, come on. At least you'll get to see him hustle. So I went up there in December. That's why I come home with a pup. I've named Wampus Cat Power Jet. I like the name Jet. I think it's cool. And I threw Power in there because Pow's full registered name is Wade's Power Stroke. And I just want to name him after Pow because Pow's a really nice dog and I like Pow. So about Pow, what I seen out of him. First off, he's directly out of Gas Monkey, and I don't know about the other 1 or 2 females outside of Wade's kennel, but I know at his house he had Ari and he had Hussy, and he bred Gas Monkey to both of those females, and that has been an outstanding litter of dogs. Those gas dogs are winning, buddy. This, I don't think, has been said publicly, but those dogs, I'm not sure if they were all out of gas monkey, but they were all from Wade's place. Went months, and every single week, at least one of those dogs had a cast win. From the Winter Classic all the way through, like, I don't know, like 2 months ago or something. It was like a 9-month run or something crazy where every week one of those dogs got a cast win. So there's like a consistency there, you know, like to that breeding, that blood. It's not like these one-off type winners. It's like there's a consistency. And Gas Monkey, who's out of Doc Feelgood, which is a pepper dog, and one of Wade's females. Gas Monkey come out of that cross. Another one of those weird, he should have been a strike dog, but he was tight and he threw strike. I don't understand it, but Gas Monkey was like a freak, man. Like treating wild coons at 6 months old. Won his first cast at 9 months old. Like he lost a cast, and then he won one, and then he won the next 4 in a row to make night champion by 11 months old. And like Wade was so impressed with Gas Monkey that he tried to breed him to Hussy twice when he was 7 months old. Of course, didn't happen. He wasn't fertile yet. But at 7 months, like he knew this is a freak, and you know he bred him. But he did end up getting Gas bred a couple of months before he got killed. Big coon drowned Gas Monkey in a creek and killed him. But he did get him bred more than twice, 3 or 4 times, but twice to his females, which is Ari, a double shock female. It's really nice, and Hussy. And see, Hussy is out of one of those crosses that Adam Lundy made with Freak. Remember me telling you I really like Freak. Freak's a dominant reproducer. So Wade's King Kong, also known as Kong, super nice, quick strike, big mouth, hard tree dog, good reproducer out of a long line of reproducers. Kong was bred to Freak. Adam brought Freak up to Wade's house. This wasn't mentioned on camera, but Wade told me this story in his kitchen that Kong was sick, and he was still fairly young. He was sick and dying, and Adam and Wade had this conversation on the phone, like, do you think he can breed Freak? Like, Wade couldn't guarantee, like, he could be dead by the time you get here. And the last cross that was made with Kong. So I'm back driving again and picking up where I left off. So Kong was bred to Freak right before Kong died. That was the last, so Freak was the last female that Kong ever bred. And before the pups were born, Kong was dead. And I'm really super glad that that cross was made. I don't know about all the other dogs in the litter. If anybody watching knows anything about the other dogs, drop a comment. But I do know about Hussy. Hussy's a really nice coon dog and a dominant reproducer. Hussy come out of the Kong Freak cross. And I don't know about right now, but I know that at least at one time, Hussy was on the current reproducers list. So if anybody knows more about that, comment down below. But anyway, so back to Gas Monkey. Gas Monkey was bred to Ari and Hussy. Both really good crosses. Both produced really nice dogs. Like, example of the Hussy Gas Monkey cross is Pal. An example of the Ari Gas Monkey cross is Ash Monkey, who's going to be featured on another Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode. But anyway, so Gas Monkey was bred to Hussy. That's where Pal come from, along with some other really nice pups, but that's where Pal come from. So Pal's grandmother was Freak. So Pal was bred to Tess, who's out of a little money and Freak. So you've got Freak, X-bred. He comes from a long line of reproducers, really nice coon dogs, winners on both sides. So in Jet, I get the pepper blood. I love the pepper blood. Can't wait to do a Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode with Brent Peel. But I love the pepper blood, and I got that. I love Wade stuff, and I got that. I love Moonlight stuff, the old Moonlight blood. It's in there, 99 Moonlight Kate, Aftershock, and Steps Red Pepper was crossed over to 99 Moonlight Kate, and that made Pepper Ranch. She's in there, and I got Little Money, and I got Double Freak, and like I love that crossing. So like 9 months ago, when I figured out that that's what was about to happen, that Tess was going to Wade and Tess was going to be bred to Powell, I tried to send Wade money for the pup, then he wouldn't take it. He's like, man, look, you'll get a pup, don't worry about it, pay when you get here. So I appreciate that, Wade, but I was going to send you the money. But so I waited for months on that pup, and that pup just happened to be ready to go in December, which is horrible hunting. So to that hunting, Miranda and I drove like a straight shot. I think it's like 12 or 13 hours, but by the time you make stops and stuff, it ended up being about 15 hours. We drove up there. Committed, y'all. Committed. Because I drove during the first round of the college football playoffs when Alabama was playing Oklahoma, which was also a revenge game. Roll Tide. Miranda played the game live on her phone, and I listened, so I still got it, but it wasn't the same. But anyway, I drove up there, 15 hours. I got settled in, talked away a little bit. We decided we was going to go hunting. I think we cut Powell loose at about 1 o'clock in the morning. And look, there's tough conditions everywhere you go. They're just different. Like where I'm from, you may cut a dog loose in July or August at 11 o'clock at night, and it's 90 degrees, and there's cottonmouths, and there's hogs, and there's gators, and there's mosquitoes that fly around, sound like velociraptors that breed turkeys. But Pennsylvania's got its own set of challenges. The ground was frozen. The wind was a constant 20-mile-an-hour swirling wind, and gusts of up to like 50 or just over 50 miles an hour. And it was 5 degrees. It's horrible. I was freezing cold, but anyway, still packing the GoPro. And anyway, Powell had to work really hard. He hustled. He got struck. He hit kind of a cold track. Drove it, got it hot, did it really fast, and as soon as he located, Wade knew he's got him. He treed. Let's go look at a coon. And we marched over the frozen ground and went in there, and Powell had a coon. That was the first night. The second night, we turned loose. He went about 2 miles before he ever cut a track, and it was a bad one. There wasn't nothing going on. He took it, drove it. Before he got treed, Wade said he ain't staying in there. He showed me on the Garmin. He's like, there's a log pile there, there's a hole. I've trained him not to tree in holes. He's about to jet out of there, and he did. Went probably another couple miles. Never struck another track. Went to another spot. He struck on the lead, a good track. Wade cut him loose. He got within like 20 yards of the road. He had to told him. And it was terrible. Because we just thought he was about to smoke a coon right here, Coon Cross Road. Wade couldn't take the chance. It was still early in the night. There's lots of traffic and stuff, so we called him back, turned him back loose, and he wind struck and slammed a tree a few hundred yards away and had a coon. So there again, like Dottie was in bad conditions. Made a tree. It was a circle tree. I have no doubt, I know that dog, I have no doubt that if we'd have kept hunting, we'd have looked at a coon that night. But it was like still a bunch of leaves on the tree and the trees, and it was a drought. me and Chuck both had stuff to do the next day, but she hustled, she got deep, she worked hard, she treed, and I know her accuracy, and I know, like, if I was a betting man, I'd have pulled a Billy Coleman. I went up to Indiana and I hunted with Johnny, and it was a drought, like I said earlier, kicking up dust, walking down a dry creek bed, and he made 4 trees, had 4 coons. I went hunting with Pearl in real thin coon on a full moon. She treed twice and she had 2 coons. And then I went with Pal in December. Coons are denned up, ground's frozen, it's horribly cold, the wind's blowing. He made 2 trees and he had 2 coons. So, like, what all these dogs have in common is, even in bad conditions, they're going to find coons. They all have got that mentality. I'm going to go as hard as I got to go. I'm going to go as deep as I got to go. I'm going to hunt as long as I need to hunt to tree a coon. And a lot of dogs will quit. And from my experience, and I'm not an old man, I ain't been doing this for decades. Well, maybe like 2. But I haven't been doing this for no 50, 60 years. But in my experience, there's a lot of dogs out there that people think are nice dogs that will quit. They've just never been put in those situations that'll show that they got quit. So even though I've been wanting like this super action-packed Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode, it is a testament to the drive and the go and the depth and the resiliency that these hounds have. And that's something that Chuck mentioned on the his episode with Dottie, is that when he said on nights like that, on this, it'll show you what you got. Like they're not running junk and they're going deep as they got to go. So, with Pal, just a lot of heart, a lot of drive, and I didn't say this on the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt episode, and Wade wasn't going to mention this on camera, because, he don't want to sound like he's bashing nobody or anything, but the whole time we was down there, he was texting folks, and he was asking them, how many coons they were treeing. Nobody was treeing coons. It was really hard hunting. It wasn't real exciting. It was real cold. But the Pal ended up getting under coons. So what impressed me most about Pal, just that absolute resiliency, I'd say. But the thing about it is, like, all these dogs I'm filming, they've got that. But like, it was no more put on, like, how do I word this? They all have that mentality. I'm gonna go to a tree coon. Okay, don't get me wrong. But those conditions were brutal. Like, for instance, I believe Pearl would have had that same go, right? Just as an example. But the toughest conditions on a dog, I would say, was with Pal. Like, we hunted Dottie during a drought, but and it was still really hard to get under a coon. But like, Pal's out there beating his paws against ice. It's cold, it's real cold. So like, you have no movement, plus it's not just the hunting conditions were bad, the conditions were bad. Like, I was cold, Wade was cold, Miranda was cold, all the deer were cold, all the coons were cold, Pal was cold, everything was cold. And he went, and I'm not saying all the other dogs wouldn't have went as hard as they had to go to tree a coon. It was just that that resiliency was so just put on display there. I like that about Pal. his characteristics. Now, huntable pearl one night, a huntable pal 2 nights. I haven't hunted the dogs together, but like we talk about matching traits. Pal reminded me a lot of pearl in the strike and the being the open on track. Like the 6 ain't gonna catch pal, the 6 ain't gonna catch pearl like ever. They're both upper end strike dogs. They both can burn a track like that. The pal and pearl are very complementary. But one specific thing that I did notice about pal is, and I don't know, like Wade mentioned, he's just going. So I don't know if it's just I'm just going to run and just take these random turns, or if he's really thinking and trying to pattern the coon. I don't know. All I can tell you is what I've seen on the Garmin. I don't know pal that Wade knows pal, but I can tell you what I've seen on the Garmin, and that is he'll run the edge for a while, shoot off in the timber, swirl around in the timber. He'll hit a ditch, he'll hit a creek, he'll pop back out in the field, run an edge again. Like he's constantly moving and trying new things when the coons ain't moving. And I know that pal is an action-packed, get treed fast type of dog, and he's a blast to hunt when the coons are down and moving. But there are certain things that you're not going to see in a dog on a night of hunting like that. Like it's a good thing to see them on a bad night, to see what they're gonna do. Like Dottie and Eagle going like 3.5 miles as a crow flies before they tree a coon. You don't see that when coons are moving. You don't see it. Like Johnny in that drought, dust flying up in your face. Like nobody can watch that and say Johnny's got to have really good conditions to tree a coon, because he treat them in really bad conditions. Pearl under a full moon, thin coon, a disease done come through there and wiped out about every coon they got. There might only be like 4 coons on the whole property, but them guys are packing a dog that can find all 4 of them. Pal, it's windy, it's cold, the ground's frozen, the coons are denned up. He's gonna find you coons. And he's gonna, and he don't, like you turn him loose on the field, say it's kind of a smaller field, and he runs that edge before he gets back to, like he ain't gonna just run the edge, come back to you. Like he's not just an edge dog. I've ran the edge, I hadn't smelled a coon, I'm shooting in the timber. Well, I'm running through the timber, and I ain't smelling a coon, so I'm gonna hit the creek. And he just does what he has to do and tries to do things until he can cut a track, run a coon, tree that sucker. So I wouldn't have gotten to see that on a really good night of hunting. So it was neat to see. And it's on the video, like you can see where I zoom in on the Garmin there, and you can see the way that dog is moving, and the way that he's hunting, and the way that he's mixing things up. Like coons don't have to be doing a certain thing for pal to tree him. Pal's gonna figure them coons out. So that really impressed me about pal, and I'm really super excited about getting a pup out of pal and Tess. Tess being a litter mate and pearl, like that is so cool. I really have high hopes that pup Jet. We'll see what the future holds. So, in closing, let me say this: every dog that makes the Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt series, it's not my style of dog. I already addressed that a little bit with Johnny. But like Johnny's a coon dog. Like he's one all over the place. Like, have people said bad things about him? Yup. Has he had bad nights? Yup. Like, saw your McElwain coming hunting with Eagle. Eagle looked great. Does the Eagle look great every single night I turn him loose? Nope. No dog looks good every time you unsnap him. So, folks can say what they want to say. Dogs have good nights and bad nights. I watched a coon cross the road in front of us when we were hunting Johnny. And I can't remember if it was Trista or Rob. One of them was like, strike Johnny. And about that time, he just starts bawling in the box. We're going like 60 miles an hour. Happened 2 or 3 times. It was not a coincidence. There'd be a coon out in the edge of a field, strike Johnny. Oh, I'd start going to barking. I wish I got it on camera. It was crazy. He's a coon dog. Ain't my style. Some guys like top mouth dogs. Some of them want an honest strike. Some of them don't care if it's honest. They just want to get their lips open. some of them, you know, like a ball mouth tree dog, some of them like a chop mouth tree dog. You know, people like different pitches, and some people care about the way that they look, some people don't care about the way that they look. You know, some people want an ambush style, some people want one that'll grind out a cold track, some people want them to move off of bad tracks, other people want them to work good tracks, people want a layup dog, they might want a hot-nosed dog. Like, my job that I've given myself is not to say, hey, these are all the dogs that I like, they're my style, they're my favorite bloodlines, so you just select what I like. I'm going, no, who's winning? Who's got really good bloodlines? Who's producing really good pups? Who's helping the breed, you know? And put those dogs on display, because that's what's fair. And this whole Wampus Cat Chat here, if I have sounded biased, I apologize. I'm trying to represent every dog accurately, and I'm trying to be as honest as I can be about each and every dog. I want to be fair and I want to be honest. I do have what I like, but this show isn't about me. If it was about me, it wouldn't be filmed. It would just be me. I would just go and ask these guys questions and hunt with their dogs, and they would be only dogs that it'd just be dogs that I was interested in getting a pup out of, a breed to, or whatever. So there's going to be other dogs. There's going to be breeds that I don't care nothing about. That I'm like not ever gonna, like, I'm never gonna have a tree in Feist, but I'm gonna go film them because there's guys that follow Wampus Cat Outdoors that are squirrel hunters. They like Feist, so I'm gonna show them some Feist, man. You know, I don't ever plan on breeding a ghost, but he's an ACHA world champion. You know, I think that's cool, so I'm gonna go film him. So, and I mean, I could end up with a Johnny pup one day or something, you know, I don't know. Right now, I have no plans at all to breed to mow. As of right now, like, there's no females that I have or that's on the Wampus Cat team that we are planning to breed mow to in the near future. But I tell you what, I've talked to Ricky about having him collected, you know. So it ain't all about me, and I want to be fair, and I know that I can probably sound biased when I hunt with a dog that's my style. Look, you would too, just being honest. Like, if you like a certain style of dog, right, you're probably going to sound a little biased when you're talking about a dog that's that certain style. But all of these dogs featured are real deal coon dogs. They're all winners. They all have a resume. They're all from a line of reproducers. They're all really nice coon dogs. You know, they've won all over the place. And they're owned and handled by top-notch people. That's for sure. That's for sure. Like, I've been so blessed by these people and the way that they've treated me. And it's just, it's been awesome. And I've learned a lot of history. And it's been really cool, you know, learning about these bloodlines and meeting new people and going to new places. And it's been a lot of fun. So I hope everybody out there continues to keep up, watch Coon Dog Talk-N-Hunt. I'm really pumped about this next episode, which is actually going to be broken down into multiple parts. I think I'm going to be on 3 casts at PKC Redbone Days, at least one with Jack Bingham, at least one with T-Mac, at least one with Royce Taylor. So, get to watch Bally go, get to watch Broke go. I'm not 100% sure who Mr. Bingham's handling. Whatever he's handling, you'll get to watch him go. And get to interview Royce Taylor and Jack Bingham and Casey Dooley and T-Mac Dominguez and Shane Maxey, and I'm excited. There'll probably be some others. So, looking forward to that. And then in the near future, I got some other episodes coming up that are coming up that I'm really excited about. So, and as of right now, I don't see this coming to an end as long as I continue to get the support and have the opportunities and can afford this. Then I'm going to keep going and hopefully bring y'all some awesome content. If you've got any suggestions, anything questions that you have, whatever, drop in the comments. And there again, I really, really hope that I represented everybody's hounds honestly and fairly. You know, I wish Dottie got her mouth open faster, but I got Eagle. Boy, and I like him a bunch, you know. So one day I don't know, I might end up with a Johnny pup that I like. I don't know, but I just hope I was fair.